starting, right?
Yeah.
A very good afternoon to one and all present here. Geetharathan International Business School feels immensely delighted to organize this EFDP for the faculties. I, Dr. Ashneet Kaur, take this opportunity to welcome you all on behalf of Geetharathan International Business School on this virtual platform for interaction with Professor S.K. Baral. Geetharathan International Business School was established in the year 2004. It is affiliated to Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University, Delhi, and approved by All India Council for Technical Education, Ministry of HRD and Government of India for technical courses, and Bar Council of India for the law courses. The institute conducts various courses, namely MBA, MBA International Business, BBA, BBA LLB, and BA LLB. The institute is accredited as Category A by National Assessment and Accreditation Council and assessed as Category A+ by the State Fee Regulatory Committee and rated highest grading A by Joint Inspection Committee of Government of NCT of Delhi and GGSIP University. The institute has been rated Grade A by Academic Audit Cell of GGSIP University consecutively for past 7 years. GIBS has also been rated number 2 twice consecutively by Times B School Survey. GIBS, with its fervor and blessing of its well-wishers, have come a long way as a school of excellence in the field of professional education. Faculty vitality is the main ingredient to enhance professional education and competence. Enriching the faculty in key domains of teaching, assessing, research, professionalism, and administration is perceived to improve educational environment significantly and enhances the academic performance of learners. The goals of faculty development program is to improve practice in teaching, research, and institutional service, and also to manage change by enhancing individual strength and abilities, as well as organizational abilities and overall culture. There is no doubt there has been a drastic change in the year 2020. However, pandemic should not stop the learning process. In its perpetual pursuit to deliver existential learning and offer global exposure, GIBS is very delighted to organize this EFDP on qualitative teaching learning procedure, a neo-normal perspective. And to discuss the topic, we have with us Professor S.K. Baral. Professor Dr. S.K. Baral did his MCom, PGDBA, LLB, MBA, and PhD from Utkal University, Bhubaneswar, Orissa, and he has been professionally trained from Reed B School, London, UK, and the London Community College, UK, in motivational techniques and management leadership, respectively in the year 2009. He is accredited management teacher recognized by All India Management Association, New Delhi, India in the year 2009. He has also been recognized as CEGR Certified Academic Leader. He has served 7 years in corporate and 25 years in teaching. He has authored 18 books with most current, comprehensive, and state-of-art analysis to fulfill the need of commerce and management students, professionals, and executive working in related fields, such as insurance management, modern banking management, modern marketing management, etc., to name a few. He has been honored with the following prestigious national and international awards: Best Academic Excellence, Lifetime Achievement Award 2018, Higher Educational Distinguished Leadership Award 2019, National Education Leadership Award 2019, Academic Excellence Award 2020, and Lifetime Teacher Award 2020. And the list goes on. He is also associated with prestigious organizations. As an active academician, he has been closely associated with several Indian and foreign universities. He is visiting professor to the Southampton Solent University, UK, and University of Washington, Bothell, USA. He is chief editor of Splint International Journal of Professionals, a quarterly published international journal. Listed in Periodical Directory, ProQuest, USA, JGate, Indian Citation Index, he has contributed 129 research articles in different national and international journals to his credit. He's also NAC Assessor, Ministry of HRD, Government of India, and working as Professor, Department of Commerce, Faculty of Commerce and Management at Indira Gandhi National Tribal University, Madhya Pradesh, India. Now, without taking much of your time, I would request Sir to take the session forward and illuminate us with his expertise. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Roshini. I am very much delighted to be here today in this platform. I must extend my thanks to Geeta Ratan International Business School, who has organized this EFDP today. And I am also thankful to the professors, teachers, students, experts joined in this platform. And I must extend my thanks to Professor Bose, Professor A.R. Ramnarayan, and Professor Kaur, Dr. Kaur of this Geeta Ratan International Business School. Those have contacted me and they have coordinated this program. So I must thankful to them. So today my topic of discussion is I'm going to share some views on new National Education Policy 2020. Before entering into this subject, let me tell you a few, background of this topic. The Government of India conducted higher education survey. As per the recent report from the Ministry of HRD, it is noted that 1993 universities and around 30,000 colleges and around 10,730 standalone institute identified on its portal it is available, which contribute to education. These institutions further represent student density of India. The total annual enrollment in higher education is nearly 37.4 million, which is expanding the horizons of education industry. This is about the brief background. And we all know India's higher education system is one of the largest in the world. With closely 52,000 institutions and enrollment which has been done 4 times what was in 2001, according to a report being published in 2019, that is Brookings India report is reviewing higher education in India. It was their statistics. And as I told you, it is nearly now 35.7 million students enrolled program as at the country's universities and colleges. It has been noted very carefully by the reviewing and reviving this higher education in India, entitled this paper. It has been published. And looking into the gross enrollment ratio in India, the gross enrollment ratio in India was 26.3% as of 2016. It is very low in comparison to any developed country. Well, this represents more than double, double in gross enrollment ratio of a decade earlier. That is, it was only 11.5% in 2006. It remains below the target of 32.2% for 2022, said by it is being fixed by Ministry of HRD. And just over 750,000 Indians I mean, students, they went abroad for studying. They are pursuing their higher studies in 2018, making India the world's second largest source country after China for international students, and one of the world's fast growing outbound markets in higher education. So NEP 2020, I mean to say National Education Policy, New Education Policy, is a rare policy which recognizes the importance of many issues that we will be discussing one by one. It may not be perfect or deserve to analyze in a very precise manner, but we will be trying to land with the conclusion, and we'll be trying to make a focus on this, and we'll be discussing several issues related to this new education policy, national education policy. With the increased focus, because of this pandemics, COVID-19, so it has given a platform to us to learn and to relearn, to upskill ourselves, and by adopting online teaching methodologies. And with the increased focus on online learning and online courses, fueled with COVID-19 pandemics, as I was telling, and during this lockdown, new education policy being declared. I mean to say, it was a time, and we must feel very much fortunate that the UGC has doubled the academic credit limit for online courses. So here, earlier it was from initially 20%, now it has gone to more than 40%. So the online courses with credit values and other things. Since an academic bank credits, it is we speak ABC, academic bank credits, is also has been included in this national education policy. Students can now safely opt for online courses and get credits for the same. And the credit bank has been formed by the government or the policy makers. Those have made this new education policy. The credit bank would help students collect and compare credits from studying in different educational institutes. This is the motto. And degree would be awarded based on total credits earned by the students. But it is a very integrated part of getting the degree. And with the UGC decision to double the, this credit, online credit, students can now join online courses in subjects of their choice and get the same return as attending physical lectures in a classroom. So it has been seen that many platforms were available earlier also, and now also the platform has been enhanced and the course has been increased immensely, and students can take different subjects on their choice. This is a choice-based opportunity has been given to the students. Starting by changing the name, Ministry of Human Resource Development to Ministry of Education, Government of India has approved new National Education Policy 2020, which will be kind of like a restructure of schooling education, college education, and higher education in coming years to come. And it has been also experimented that why students and parents to know about, or the experts or the participants, those who participated today, why they should know about this new national education policy. there are several key features. Of this national education policy. For example, the first key feature is change in school structure from 10 plus 2 to 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 that we will be discussing. And a new school curriculum to include 21st century, which is very much skill based. And the multi-stream options to choose subjects has been adopted, and revamped board exam also has been taken care. Multilingual policy with preference to local language, that has been also made. Emphasis on digital platform and online education services has already been it has already been taken into account. We'll discuss the key features, then I will switch over to my slides. Key feature, I told you, the change in school structure, that is 10 plus 2. Earlier it was in school structure, and it has been converted into 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. So that means the average age of education has been decided to be started from 3 years, and it will be completed school. The student will complete the school education at the age of 18. Currently, children in age group 3 to 6 are not covered in 10 plus 2 structure, as class 1 begins at age 6. In a new 5 plus 3 plus 4 structure, a strong base of early childhood care education, it is called ECCE, from age 3 is also been included. And I was telling it is skill based. Why I am discussing before entering into the slides, because ultimately in higher education we will be getting, it is expected we will be getting, if at all the national education policy is going to be supported by many attributes, then what will happen? We will be getting quality students in our higher education system. So a new school curriculum will be launched very soon in 21st century. It has become a kind of emerging kind of like subject to for knowing all of us, because skill like coding and vocational studies will be started from class 6. So, and curriculum content will be reduced in each subject, and it is and to its the core essentials, and make very critical thinking and more holistic and inquiry based, discovery based, discussion based, analysis based learning will be replaced by will be replacing the old kind of like teaching methodology. Earlier it was a text based content, so the content will be reduced, and it will bring a holistic environment, and the content will be based on inquiry based, discovery based, discussion based, analysis based. This will be like this, and the content will focus on key concepts. The key concepts may be like ideas, applications, problem solving. Teaching and learning will be conducted in a more interactive manner. So more interaction will give birth to many ideas. So that is the whole focus behind this program. And multi-stream option, I told you, in a new education policy there will be no hard separation of streams. Student will be given increased flexibility and choice of subjects to study, particularly in secondary school, including subjects of physical education, arts, crafts, vocational skills. All subjects to be offered at a 2-level proficiency, starting with mathematics. And as I told you, the board exam has already been decided for revamping, and the board exam format will be redesigned to test core competencies like concept of learning. So concept of learning is a kind of like, is a term, it has been taken for revival of board exam, which is very much essential for higher education. So the conceptual learning, concepts learning, and would have over the time the models of examinations such as annual, semester, or modular board exam that will be done. And the multilingual system is also it is also observed. New education policy, the national education policy has adopted initially 3-language formula, that no language, there will be a greater flexibility, as I told you, 3-language formula, and no language will be imposed on any state. Wherever possible, the medium of instruction, until at least, but preferably it will be started from 5th. Preferably it will be moving to grade 8 and beyond that also. The language, it is also seen from the record, from the policy, that will be home language, mother language, or local language, or regional language. So it has got some barrier also, some drawbacks also, that we will discuss. Because I was studying a kind of literature. I found something I will be sharing with you, and it has been decided to give quite big emphasis on digital platforms, and the students will be learning the technology part of their studies. And the National Education Technical Forum will be created, and under this they will be enhanced. They will enrich their knowledge by using technology through online learning, assessment, planning, and administration. And it is also seen that the NEP, or the National Education Policy, seeks to restore the importance of arts, humanities, social sciences in our education system. And as we know very much, in our engagement with science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, this is known as STEM, as these areas offer higher employment opportunity, we must accord lesser value and importance to non-STEM disciplines. It has been observed. It is a challenge for India. It is a challenge. An institution focusing only on engineering, medicine, legal studies have inherent limitations. This model often, again, the idea of universities and other thing, maybe we must face some challenges. And as I told, introducing flexibility in course designing, allowing much greater choice to the students for selecting subjects as per their attitude, as per their preference, as per their wish, offering different entries and exit options. And this is a very much crucial need for multidisciplinary in education are among the major kind of problems. And most of our universities, especially in science, has been and NEP addressed the questions of the queries what we are discussing, and slowly I think there will be some kind of like addition, some kind of amendment, some kind of changes also will be which will be highly conducive, and that universities and colleges must have flexibility and autonomy to adapt the things. The idea to set up it has been also taken. The National Research Foundation will be established so that it will support for research work, and looking into the aspects of different kind of like opportunities and kind of like present scenario. It has made the education like this. The graduation will be 3 years or 4 years, and more than 50% of the students in India's higher education system are studying in one of 3 programs. What are those 3 programs? One is Bachelor of Arts, or Bachelor of Science, or Bachelor of Commerce. These programs are 3 years in duration, and if at all we are going to add 1 year more, then it will be easier for the students for getting, I mean to say, their post-graduation duration will be reduced, and this 1 year they will be learning more and more kind of like research, how to conduct research. This kind of curriculum will be developed, and there are also some, let me tell some barriers, then we'll land with the recommendations of national education policy. And the challenges are very high in our end also. High entry barriers will be there, and stringent tenure rules and rigid promotion may also take place. And with this, it has been also experimented that new dimensions of higher educations may develop, it may take birth, and accordingly, because you see it is a continuous process on the basis of the development, on the basis of the kind of like enrollment management strategy, and the potentiality and to develop the online education and offering this less expensive bachelor degree, launch evergreen programs, and identify and develop every every service which has been defined under national education policy, and looking into that the mission-driven expansion opportunity to be adopted by the government. And now I will request Dr. Roshni to upload the slide so that we'll go the recommendations, implementations, and 11 key recommendations that we will discuss. So these 11 key recommendations, I will tell you one by one. It has been recommended by the committee, and it has been already approved, and it has been already the cabinet has union cabinet has already approved this National Education Policy 2020, and this is we will discuss one by one the duties, I mean to say the recommendations of 11 recommendations, key recommendations we will study, and on the basis of that we'll discuss. So let me upload the
yes sir, I'm doing it.
You are doing okay. Okay, please do.
So can you see it? I mean, okay.
This is the first slide. Yeah. So the first,
Yes.
second one, madam. Yeah. It has been, it is told that the multiple exit and entry points into higher education will be available from this year, from 20 to 21. The 4 years degree program will be introduced by 2021 for central universities. For that, we have already prepared the syllabus. Very shortly, that syllabus we are going to send on behalf of our university to the ministry, and they have invited syllabus from different universities. So we are a part of that also. We have prepared the syllabus, and the new education policy, this 4 years degree program is, as I told you, degree program earlier it was 3 years. Under new education policy, there is the option a student can take 3 years program, or can take the can go for another 1 year studies also. So that 1 year additional studies will be on some research-based studies, field-based studies, field work will be there. So on that basis, that has been designed. And this 3 years or 4 years duration with multiple exit options within this period with appropriate certificates, this has been decided. A certificate after completing 1 year in a discipline or field, including vocational and professional area, or a diploma after 2 years of studies, or a bachelor degree after 3 years program. A 4 years multidisciplinary bachelor's degree, however, shall be preferred option, since it allows the opportunity to experience the full range of holistic and multidisciplinary education, in addition to a focus on the chosen major minor as per the choice of the student. So 1 year higher education institutions will have the flexibility to offer different designs of master programs. There may be a 2 years program with a second year devoted entirely to the research for those who have completed 3 years bachelor program, or for students completing 4 years bachelor program with research, there will be 1 year master degree program. Or there may be an integrated 5 years bachelor/master degree program. Undertaking a PhD shall require either a master degree or 4 years of bachelor degree with research, and the MPhil program has been discontinued. But there is a small gap here. It has been slated that for undertaking a PhD, it is required either a master degree or 4 years bachelor degree with research. That sounds little bit, I mean to say, we must give our thrust on this. So after master degree only, a student can opt for PhD. And for opting PhD, there are several national test agencies are there. So they must conduct the program. And 4 years bachelor degree with research, again they will be studying 1 year in master degree. Second year they will be studying. And first year will be master degree, first year will be research, which is very much similar to 4 years of bachelor degree program. Madam, second one. Next, madam. I just told an academic bank of credit to be established by. It was decided to establish by December 2020 because of this pandemics. I think it will be established by the end of March. We are expecting to get the academic bank credit technology. I mean to say the combination will be getting, and it is kind of credit on from different higher education institutions. The student can transfer and counted towards final degree examination. And as I told, the ABC shall be established, which would digitally store the academic credits. The credits will be stored digitally, and the student concern can access, can count the credit at the end of the examination. If any credit required, he or she can go for additional subjects also. And on the basis of the credits, it will be calculated, and the 4 years program may also lead to a degree with research. The 4-year degree will be maybe the nomenclature is coming very soon, and it will be with the degree will be written, with research it will be written. And if the student, and it is also another kind of drawback I am telling, because in many students, those are studying in remote areas, in remote colleges, in remote places where sufficient research-based facilities are not available and teachers are not available. How they will complete, how they will take admission in 4 years as research. So here research should not be diluted. So research must be given adequate kind of like weightage, that really a student will go through rigorous research process so that he or she could gain some knowledge and could deliver that knowledge to the society as and when required. And since ABC is also a part of kind of like gain credit, the credit bank would help students collect and complete their education. Degree would be awarded on the basis of total credit earned by a student. But there is a small gap. We must see that where this 4 years program will be launched. So what are the parameters to select the colleges, the institutions, or the universities, or other kind of like academic platforms where this 4-year research program could be launched successfully? So that we must see. Then the third point is, thank you, madam. Common entrance test will be worked out from February-March 21 and administered possibly by May 2021 this year. As I told, the NEP 2020 positions national testing agencies as a NTA as a premier testing organization, and that will offer high quality common aptitude test as well as specialized common subject exam in science, in humanities, in languages, art, vocational subject at least twice in every year. So it has been decided. And moreover, which entrance will be conducted and what will be the kind of like modalities, that is going to be slated very soon. The common entrance exam shall be test conceptual undertaking and ability to apply knowledge, and shall aim to eliminate the need for taking coaching for these exams. So coaching-based exam has the government is going to kind of like finish the coaching-based exam. So student will apply its own knowledge and shall aim to eliminate the need of coaching, because coaching is very costlier affair nowadays. So this new education policy felt that if at all it will be on the basis of the traditional approach, then again students will rush to the coaching center. So students will be able to choose the subjects for taking the test, and each university will be able to see each student's individual subject portfolio and admit students into their program based on individual interest and talents. So that is expected in point number 3. And also under this, the NTA will serve as a premier expert autonomous testing organization to conduct entrance examination for undergraduates and graduate admissions and fellowships in higher education institutions. It is a good thing. Students will apply their mind. They will go for choice, select their subjects. Choice-based examination is being encouraged over here, and the high quality range and flexibility of NTA testing services will enable most universities to use these common entrance examinations rather than having hundreds of universities each devising their own entrance exams, thereby drastically reducing the burden on the students, universities and colleges, the entire education system that is going to be modified into this way. And in this way, it will be left up to the individual universities and colleges to use NTA assessment for their admissions. So now we will depend upon the entrance what we are conducting, that is going to be conducted by NTA. On that basis, the thing will be done. And the fourth is establishment of Higher Education Commission of India. So this is the highest body is going to be constitute, and the proposed Higher Education Commission of India, which is set to replace the UGC and will take over the AICT also. And this Higher Education Commission of India will comprise of 4 independent verticals within one umbrella institution. One umbrella institution is Higher Education Commission of India. So the 4 vertical independents are: number 1 is National Higher Education Regulatory Council. The first vertical is National Higher Education Regulatory Council, that will function as a common single point regulator for higher education sector, including teacher education, but it excludes medical and legal education. And thus, through this independent vertical institution, it will eliminate the duplication and disjunction of regulatory efforts by multiple regulatory agencies that exist at the current time. So UGC and AICT is going to be merged, and they will come as National Higher Education Regulatory Council. Madam, next. Yes, yes. The second vertical will be meta accrediting body called National Accreditation Council. This institution will be based primarily on basic norms, public self-disclosure, good governance, outcomes, and it will be carried out by an independent ecosystem of accrediting institution, supervised and overseen by NAC. So NAC is the new name is National Accreditation Council. So the quality part, the governance part, the self-disclosure part, and outcomes and basic norms will be monitored by NAC. And the third vertical is Higher Education Grant Council. So Higher Education Grant Council, this will carry out funding and financing of higher education based on transparent criteria, and on that basis, the Higher Education Grant Council will go for several grants looking into the strength of the institution. And the fourth vertical is General Education Council, which is frame expected learning outcome for higher education program, also refer to graduate attributes. A national higher education qualification framework will be formulated by General Education Council, and it shall be in a very synchronizing manner with national skill qualifications framework to ease the integration of vocational education into higher education. And for that also government is encouraging to start vocational education along with the higher education. And the next point is, fifth point is, Madam, next. The fifth point is Indian institutions setting up campuses abroad and allowing foreign universities campuses in India. So how it will happen and what will be the parameter, and best universities, 500 universities or 100 best universities will be opening in India, their branch. Then what will be the status of Indian students and Indian universities? And if at all Indian universities will go abroad, what will be their position? So that is also another kind of like, it requires more kind of like discussion on this, but it is a good approach, good kind of suggestion being given. So the fifth recommendation is NEP recommends, National Education Policy recommends that high performing Indian universities should be encouraged to set up campus in other countries. And similarly, selected universities, those from among 100 universities in the world, should be facilitated to operate in India. That means through this National Education Policy, it is observed that now the entire education system is going to become a globalized education system. But making globalized education system, whether we could be able to retain our values or not, so that we must go on that. And National Education Policy is kind of like calls for a legislative framework to facilitate such entries, such universities be given special dispensations regarding regulatory, governance and content norms on par with other autonomous institutions of India. So this has been suggested, but furthermore, research collaboration and student exchange between Indian institutions and global institutions must be promoted through a special efforts through specific purposes. Credit acquired in foreign universities will be permitted where appropriate as per requirement of the higher education institution to be counted for award of a degree. The new regulator, Higher Education Commission of India, will have to bring new regulations, and setting up foreign university in India might require further a bill. It requires a bill. It is not a very small thing. And the next point, madam, sixth, achieving 50% gross enrollment ratio in higher education, including vocational education, by 2035. NEP calls, or National Education Policy calls, for establishment of higher education institutions in underserved regions to ensure full access, equity, and inclusion. And it has been estimated, if at all, the gross enrollment ratio in higher education, including vocational and higher education system, it can be enhanced from 26.3%, which has been calculated in 2018, can be enhanced to 50% by 2035. While a number of new institutions may be developed to attain these goals, a large part of capacity creation will be achieved by consolidating sustainability, expanding, and also improving existing higher education institutions. And the next is related to school education, but this is the recommendation, so let us cover very quickly. This recommendation is kind of like formulation of a new and comprehensive national curriculum framework for school education by 2021. The formulation of a new and comprehensive national curriculum framework for school education 2021 will be undertaken by NCERT based on the principle of National Education Policy 2020 and the curriculum need and other things. The ministry and government and relevant departments, central government, state governments, other expert, other bodies must be giving their thought on this, how the documents this will be prepared, and how it will be implemented, because it is the backbone of education. If school education will be poor, then higher education also will be affected. So school education, what are the recommendation has already been given by the National Education Policy for implementation. So it requires a proper coordination between the state and center, so that it could be implemented successfully. Number 8, madam. Next. National professional standard for teachers to be laid down by 2020. A common guiding set of national professional standard for teachers will be developed by 2020 by the National Council for Teachers Education in its restructured new form as a professional standard setting body. Under General Education Council, in consultation with NCRTC and SCRTC and teachers from across level and different regions and experts from different organizations and expert bodies in vocational education and higher education institution to be taken into account. And the standard would cover expectation of the role of teacher at a different level, at different stage, the competencies required for that stage to operate successfully. It will also comprise standards of performance appraisal for each stage out on a periodic basis as per the recommendation. And next, madam, the new assessment system for school academic session 2023 has recommended that the current nature of secondary school exams, including board exams, entrance exams, the coaching culture of today are doing much harm to the students. This has been felt now, especially at secondary school level, is replacing valuable time through learning with excessive exam coaching and preparation. So looking into that, while the entrance, the board exams for grade 10, I mean class 10 and 12 would be continued, the existing system of board and entrance examinations shall be reformed to eliminate the need for undertaking coaching classes. And to reverse these harmful effects of current assessment system, board examination will be redesignated to encourage holistic development of students, and will be able to choose many of the subjects by the students in which they take board exams. They can appear very comfortably board exams, and depending on their individual interest and individual control over subjects. And the National Education Policy also recommends the board exams to focus on testing primary core capabilities and competencies rather than months of coaching and kind of like activities. The students who has been going to and making a basic effort in a school class will be able to pass and do well in the corresponding subjects at their board exam without much additional effort. So looking into that further, the next point is, next recommendation is extending support early, no madam, 10. Extending support early child care and education by 2020-30. It has been estimated. NEP says, National Education Policy estimates that over 85% of child's cumulative brain development occurs prior to the age of 6, indicating the critical importance of appropriate care, stimulation of the brain in the early years in order to ensure healthy brain development and growth. Presently, quality early child care education is not available to crores of young or children, particularly children from socio-economically disadvantaged backgrounds. They are suffering out of this. So a very huge investment in early child care education has the potential to give all young children such access and enabling them to participate and flourish in the educational system throughout their lives. Universal provisioning of quality early child development care education must be achieved as soon as possible to cope up with the global education scenario. So it has been estimated to achieve by 2030 to ensure that all students entering to class 1, grade 1 must be ready to get all those supports. And the national curriculum and the framework for this childhood care and education up to the age of 8 will be developed by NCRTC. And it is already been started now. And the last recommendation, 11th, madam, is establishment of National Research Foundation, which is very much work in progress. National Education Policy for establishment of a National Research Foundation with the objective to promote research activities at various universities and institutions. National Education Policy is very much based on relying is dependable, and is also very much reliable, based on merit based but equitable peer-reviewed research funding, and helping to develop a culture of research in the country through universities, through institutions. Suitable incentives for and recognition of outstanding research will be provided by this National Research Foundation, and the major initiatives to seed and grow research of state universities as well as public institutions where research capability is currently limited. And the NEP is for this National Research Foundation to competitively fund research in all disciplines and implemented through close linkage with government agencies as well as with industry and private public philanthropic organization. And the NEP proposed that the National Research Foundation be established by an act of parliament, so that the autonomy, they can function properly. Have 4 major divisions must be given to the National Foundation, National Research Foundation. One is science, technology, social science, and humanities, public arts is given, and an annual grant of 20,000 crore with autonomy over its finance and governance. The Union Minister, Finance Minister has already discussed and already expressed her views. Madam has already expressed her views in this matter, and already trying to accommodate the budget accordingly. And these are the recommendations we are given by the new education policy. And apart from that, I have some observations I would like to share with you, so that it would be more appropriate to learn and to discuss, and we must go with that. And when we are discussing about national education policy, revamping of this system, there is one aspect that the policy does not address at all. That is how it plans to ensure that the intellectual autonomy of students will be maintained within campus. Apparently, for those involved in drafting this big policy, this is a national policy already, this has already been approved. There is no regime that students, those are, for example, the high quality teaching and learning process, if at all, is available in a campus. The policy aims to bring out the higher education system that is flexible and is premised on the need of the greater freedom. It is, of course, but at the same time, it overlooks the elements that threaten this very freedom. Hence, it is quite curious, as we are experimenting now, and we are in verge of implementing this policy, and we must see the beauty part of this new education national policy, where some teething problem may come, but in long run, this policy, I hope this will be appreciated, this will be adopted, and immensely the country and the students, the researchers, the institutions, the universities will get immense benefit out of this. It is quite extraordinary to see that the initiative taken by the government to transform the education system after a long decades. So this is a great achievement in the part of our country. The new education policy was marked with the promised landmark and ideas. It has already been done, and it is quite bold of the government to want to restructure the education system with especially drastic change in higher education system. The government, it is expected to manage the undertake. The bold change seems to be quite important to those who have involved, and unfortunately, not very surprisingly, seeing that the implementation of policy may take 4 or 5 years, or 2 years or 3 years, but step by step, the government must test adequately so that the absolute power to be given to the Higher Education Council, Commissioner of India, that to be implemented very successfully, and 4 vertical institutions would be operating very smoothly. And it is also expected that a student who is pursuing, for example, much water has flown under the long awaited this kind of like national education policy, and silent debates are going on, but I feel the policy, the national education policy have many key plans with respect to higher education for setting up different kind of like special zones like forums, special education zones, and inviting foreign universities, setting up campuses in India, and Indian universities will be setting their campus abroad. So this is a very big process, and it is a very kind of like a very dynamic kind of step being taken by the government, and we feel that if government will provide proper kind of like guidance in this way, and we feel that all institutions and all autonomy bodies, if at all, they will be given adequate freedom, and because education should be should become free from any kind of like thing like from politics, from other kind of things. Education should be given adequate kind of like importance, so that research and other things can be done very efficiently. Because lack of a culture of research now, it has also I was just studying one article. Most of in PhD also, many students, around 22% of students, they are not completing their kind of like within the duration, and they have left the PhD program also. 22% students of entire, I mean, if at all, the total students will be taken into account. And looking into that, if at all, recently this policy which has been developed, it will help immensely, and will certainly the country as well as the entire education system has already been, it is expected to be revamped, and vocational education has been taken into the fold, and I am sure that this will lead a very good kind of like outcome to this country, to this nation, and it is also for education, as we know very well, for all educational institutions, the first step will be invest in teachers, because teachers as well as invest on the system also. So why teachers? I am telling, more number of teachers are required. I am not talking about the existing teacher. For promoting this type of syllabus, or this type of kind of like multiple exit and multiple entry, so we need more number of teachers in more subjects. So there must be adequate number of teachers, and in that way, if at all the thing will be done, there will be concern around being the nation, or for the students, they are concerned around being able to find relevant places or for education, and after education, after higher education, in case they opt for higher education, they must be well placed. So placement part is also important. They must be getting the job, and it is also not defined in graduation. If at all a simple graduate or the every year a student will be getting certificate. So what will be the use of that certificate? Where it will be used? So that parameter to be, I think this will be added, and moreover, the higher education level things is different. Industry experts and professors are view these things in a professional point of view, and if a engineering student may have find it taught to get Tamil or Bangla language, teachers to explain technical concept, how it will be done, and it is also another kind of like thing to analyze. English is a common medium, so everywhere it is available. So a person who is serving his or her children are staying with them, and when the parents will be transferred from one place to another place, then that may also cause some problem of local language. So it is also another thing to is concern. There are concerns around being able to find relevant schools or like colleges if parents get transferred, or finding jobs after their higher education to choose their mother language. So this is kind of things I have shared in my discussion. I think now the participants, they might have they can they can ask me any questions. If at all it is possible, I can give answer to those questions. And I am very much happy that today I got an opportunity to interact with many kind of like intellectual galaxy present over here, and the participants, those have presented over here. And apart from that, this pandemic COVID-19 has taken away many things, and anyhow now the higher education is on the board of new national education, and we are very much happy that this new education policy has already been implemented, and within 2, 3, 4 years we will be getting the fruits And we must thankful to the government of India. They have considered, they have made it profound to make it at par with the foreign universities. And since this is going to become a global education system, so we all must welcome to the new education system. Madam.
Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us with your words of wisdom, and you have inspired all of us today. So we have a few questions
Yes.
from the participants. Yes, sir. So the first question is, like, for going abroad, we need to finish, or like if we have to do a PhD abroad, we had to have the 4-year. We need to do actually 1 year of education there before joining their PhD. So what do you think this 4-year, the system that has been changed, this would make us avoid that 1 year that we had to do in the other country?
Actually, this is in a very formative stage to answer this properly, because you see, this graduation 4 years is last year, after third year, he or she is going to get a degree with research, and how this is going to be reflected in a master degree. And after master degree, again, a person is how this will be again will be done, and will be a student will go foreign, and what will be the implications, that is yet to be tested, madam. But as per the regulation says, if looking into the current position, if a student goes abroad, so 1 year to be that is to spend there 1 year. So this is on the basis of that. To eliminate that one, I think many universities have been invited to India, and Indian universities will be there in foreign countries also. So there will be a exchange of knowledge, exchange of students, idea, exchange of curriculum also. So in due course of time, it will be mitigated, madam. It will be mitigated.
Thank you, sir. Yes. So the next question is, like, if foreign universities are allowed in India, what will happen what is the future of Indian universities, sir, then?
Yeah, if foreign universities they are entering, this is of course they will enter. So we have to upgrade up to their level only. But making upgradation, we need resources. Resources, with available resources, we are trying our best level to upgrade ourselves. But to most of the students will be attracted for foreign universities, because it is a craze in the mind of the students to get a degree from a foreign university, and their curriculum is somehow is very practice oriented, is very result oriented. So our curriculum also to match to that extent also, so that what will happen, we will try to become at par with them, and we can face the competitive environment also. It is expected the environment will be highly competitive. Some teachers, they will be also fascinated towards foreign kind of like going to foreign universities, and we have to hire some foreign professors in our fold also. It will happen like this. So it will become a very gig migration will be there. This is gig migration. In a very short-term period, within 2-3 years, there it is expected that there will be teacher migration, and it is also expected our competency level and our research base, our knowledge base, and all those kind of like, we need resources that should be developed. That should be at par with the foreign universities. And I have seen my village or any village, go to any village, the condition of higher education is very poor, and the colleges are there, very few teachers are there to operate entire things, and in that way the students are not getting adequate kind of resources to equip themselves, and the mindset is that they have enrolled to get a certificate only. They do not, most of the students, if at all, will exclude the professional students will exclude the career-oriented students. The balance few students, I mean to say the percentage will be around 40-50%. I have never calculated and I have never gone through that. But I expect that 40% of students in India, they do not want anything. They want a certificate, graduation certificate or PG certificate. But in that way, that will not solve the problems of the society. So we must, that is why our new education policy has given a big thrust on schooling education. So when the school education will be very strong, so automatically our higher education will be rectified also. We will be getting very meaningful and very capable, efficient inputs. So they will be acquainted with the system, so they will work accordingly. So this is my submission.
Yes, sir. So I totally agree with you at this point. So the last question for the day is that there are so many subjects that every child has to learn. So what do you think? What will be the base of a child? Like, because we are making them learn so many different subjects of different fields.
Madam, I was just discussing one common language was English. So now English has been neglected partially. And if at least a student will become poor in English, he cannot explore his or her career to the in a greater extent. He cannot go to cannot get a good opportunity to learn in a foreign university or in a good business house, because in a business house they need suppose a very big house, they need experts. They must be speaking in English because English is an international language. So English should be kept from the beginning. If that will be there, then only the foundation will be strong. If you will remove English and will give regional language all through, so students may lose confidence in higher studies, because our mother tongue is Hindi. For example, our national language is Hindi. But whenever we are inside the country, we are talking in Hindi. Even if in Tamil, in Kerala, in some states, Hindi is not very much popular. So they are talking in their regional language. So, and they are talking in English. So in our country also, we must take it very seriously. English must be a subject. English must be a compulsory subject. Then only the student from the beginning will be learning English. Then only in future, whenever they will go for a kind of like research work, they will go for higher studies, they will never feel kind of like complexity with foreign students that they are lacking with this language. That is why they could not be able to compete with themselves. And they cannot also move out of the country because if at all they do not learn English. So English language to be given priority. So that so I think experts in future, they may include, and this may give it priority also.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. On behalf of Geetharathan International Business School, I would like to extend my gratitude towards your humble acceptance for joining us and enlightening our faculties with your words of wisdom. Thank you so much, sir. And thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you.
Again tomorrow for the day 2 of the faculty development program.
Thank you very much, madam. Thank you very much. Thank you.